welcome to the Travel with Cameron podcast. My name is Cameron and I'm your host. Today's guest is a gentleman who's a part-time teacher, but also a travel blogger. Let's give a massive welcome to our very first guest, Travel Blog Jamie. Hello, Jamie.
Hello, good
How are you?
afternoon, morning. I'm well. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. And thank you for being my first ever guest. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you asking me. How lovely to be the first person. Hopefully not the first and worst either.
Well, I hope not, no. You'll be the best, I think.
Well,
So
thank you. I
let's
appreciate
let's start. So I want to know, what is your go-to meal deal?
it. My
A
go-to
question. This is a question we ask all guests. What is your go-to meal deal?
meal deal, like
Yes.
just generally in life, not on
If you
cruises or
say if you went
travel.
into Tesco's and was in a rush, had to get a sandwich, a drink, and a packet of crisps, what would you go for?
Okay, a meal deal at Tesco or a supermarket, a local
Well,
supermarket.
I use
I
Tesco
no,
as
I
an
have an
example.
answer for you. I have an answer for you. It's those sort of ready-made Indian meals. You know, you get like a few curries, you get a naan, you get rice, you get some bhaji. That's my go-to meal deal if I'm in a rush in an evening. They're like about £7. It's really good value. It feeds both of us as well. So just put it in the oven and off you
In the
go.
oven and off it goes.
There you go.
Magic
Easy.
microwave, and 2 minutes later it's cooked.
Yeah.
I would probably go for a cheese and ham sandwich, a bottle of Coke, and a packet of prawn cocktail crisps, most likely.
Oh
But
my
it just
God.
depends on how I'm feeling, really.
Two of those items I would never go near. I've got to be honest with you. But each to their own, as they say. Each to
Each
their
their own,
own.
whatever floats your boat. Or
Yeah. Oh,
should I
I
say
don't mind
ship?
the odd. I call it a dirty pot noodle as well. I mean,
Ooh,
every now
that's
and then
not bad.
a pot noodle. If I'm in a real rush and I'm hungry, yeah.
Okay, so tell us a bit about yourself, Jamie. Who are you and what do you do?
What do I? Who am I? What's my name? What's my age? What's my rank? I'm Jamie William Robbins because middle names are very important to me. What do I do? I suppose primarily I've been a teacher, a secondary school teacher for the last 25 years. I can't believe it. Um, Mainly teaching Spanish over the years and French as well. And I've spent quite a number of years on senior leadership teams as well. And I suppose more recently, the last year and 1 month actually was when I went part-time so that I could focus a little bit more on me, myself, my life, and my vlogging, my travel vlogging. And that's kind of brought me to where I am about a year and a month later, which is now wanting to go more part-time and do more of the vlogging because as much as I've loved my teaching career, and I have amazing students, they are awesome. I love teaching them. It is a lot of very, very hard, stressful work. And actually, the travel is still hard work in some ways, and a lot of hours put into it with the editing and so on. But that's kind of where I'm heading now. So,
How do you kind of juggle? Obviously, you're working part-time as a teacher and you're also doing the travel blogging. I've noticed that you're doing 7-night cruises. So the cruise you've just done on Azura with 7 nights. How do you juggle that with work? Because obviously you're working part-time. Is it a couple of days a week or?
So I work. Oh, it's quite complicated. So my contract at the moment is to work 4 days a week, at school. But every 2 or 3 weeks, depending on how long a half term is, right in the middle, I have a week's unpaid leave to allow me to do what it is I also want to do with my life, the travel and the content and etc.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. So it allows you to get out and put the content out for your viewers and
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
something that you enjoy, basically.
It's what I enjoy. It's what I like doing. Yeah, I've
I,
always
I
been.
I think I came across you back last year, probably about April time. I think you were cruising Iona, Norway. Um,
Oh, yeah,
that's how
May.
I came across your YouTube because I obviously booked my first ever cruise, which was on Iona for July last year to Norway. Best thing I ever did. So thank you, Jamie. You were part of my decision to book the cruise,
Well,
and
you,
I
you are
booked
many
it
other
again.
people are
So
welcome. It always makes me nervous when people take my recommendations. I try not to say you must do this, you should try this when I'm vlogging, although sometimes it kind of slips out if you're in the moment and you're really excited and you're having an amazing time. I'd rather people just watch and decided whether that was for them or not,
Yeah.
rather than me saying you must do it. So I need to be more focused on that moving forward. But I'm glad that you enjoyed it. It does
But
make me nervous.
because I watched
People,
your YouTube, I went on Iona and loved it so much that I've booked to go again on board Iona on my own this time. Um, and hopefully I'm gonna travel blog it like you do. I'm gonna give that
all
a
right,
go.
well, that's cool.
So that's
I
your
mean, if you're on
kind
your
of
own, it'll be easier
inspiration to
to.
start kind of a YouTube channel and try and get out there and put videos out and see
Yeah.
what happens
I
basically.
think when you travel solo, and this is no disrespect to my partner at all, it's actually easy to vlog because I'm not so conscious about doing it too much or not paying that person enough attention, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm in much more work mode when I'm solo, and I feel like I do more vlogging when I'm solo as well. But then when Matthew and I go away together, like the most recent one, it's definitely becoming more relaxed, and I'm sort of feeling, well, that's our holiday time and our quality time, and the other when I'm solo, and that's more the work
Do
side
you
of it.
ever have any time where you just go away and not vlog it and spend time with your partner?
No.
You just vlog it.
I need to think about doing that in the future. But the thing with vlogging and content and having a growing audience is that people like the regularity. It's a bit like people watching a soap opera. You know, no one likes it when you suddenly it doesn't appear one week or you've got a 2 week gap. You know, it really annoys people, and I think people start switching off. So the regularity is really important. So I put something out every Wednesday and Saturday, and I have a live on Monday. It's a lot, actually.
I love your lives. They're brilliant. It's just the
Thank
highlight of my
you.
week. Come home from work, have dinner, and switch off and turn on Travel Blog Jamie live.
Well, that is very much appreciated. You need to get out more than Cameron, honestly, if that's your highlight of the week. And
I'm not a social person. I just enjoy being in my own on my own. Hence, I've booked
you're not a
cruise
social
on my own.
person.
Not
Oh,
really. Well, I guess I am, but I just don't really like going out.
well, stay in and watch my lives on a Monday. There's nothing else going on a Monday, let's be honest with
And
you.
that's why I've booked a solo cruise. So I'm a bit apprehensive about cruising on my own for the first time because obviously back in July last year, I took my mum and sister on a cruise, which was nice, but it really wasn't for them. So I've
Yeah.
decided that I loved it so much to travel on my own and, do something that I enjoy, but I don't know what to expect. Will it will it be nice? Will I not enjoy it on my own? I don't know.
I think
What
I
advice
think
could you
it
give me?
depends. Like solo travel is so much more usual now and talked about now than it used to be. For me, I've always been the sort of person who's very happy to go. I don't know what you and your viewers are like, but I'm always happy to go for a coffee on my own, for example. I'm always happy to go to the cinema on my own. Like Matthew and I like very different things as well. So it's like, well, I'm going to go and watch that. I don't have a problem doing that. And the first time I did a solo trip was actually not long after my dad passed away, because it was quite a difficult time and I was quite heavily involved in the arrangements and so on. And I just needed some space. And I went on a cruise for the first time solo around that time for a week, and it was the Adriatic. And I didn't know what to expect. For me, it was a different kind of like position in terms of what had happened, but I found it very cathartic and an opportunity to reflect. I liked not having to do things for other people, not having to sort of stick to a timeline. It just worked for me. But as I've been vlogging more, it's my cruises are a bit different now. So when I go solo, like I'm going on Pinot Iona on
You go
Saturday.
solo.
Yeah, Northern Europe, and it just so happens quite a lot of people know me now on cruises. So I've got a lot of notifications about meeting up and can we do this, and would you like to come up for a drink? Would you like to come for a meal? Even the night
Accosted.
before,
You're being
and the
accosted
night
again.
before in Southampton as well. It's a case of can we meet for a drink if you're in Southampton. So my soloing is a bit different now. Um, but I think there's so much to do on a cruise as a solo passenger. Most cruise lines have lots of things organized if you want to do them. I mean, I was on my way to a solo meet, my first ever solo meet actually, on a couple of cruises ago, and I didn't even get there because I've been stopped by people en route and talking and talking. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like half hour late. So, but they have those meets every day. I noticed on P&O as well, on our last cruise, they were doing them morning and afternoon prior to the sittings for dinner, which I thought was a great idea. So go and have a drink with people, and then if you want to go and have dinner with those same people, or if you don't like them, no problem, off you go somewhere else. So there's plenty to do, and I think on a cruise, people just feel quite sociable generally, and
Yeah.
it's easy to chat, but then it's easy to not do that if you're not interested. So you'll be absolutely fine. I know you will.
I've booked some shore excursions. One of them being this new thing that P&O are offering. It's the in Olden there. It's like the style of Go Ape, but the Nordic version of it.
Oh, fantastic! That
So I
sounds
booked that.
wonderful.
So I'm looking forward to that. It'll get me off the ship. I don't really book a cruise for the destination itself. I just book the cruise for the ship. I love ships, cruise ships in particular. But I can't just be on the ship the whole week. You've got to get out and do things. So that's one thing I can recommend to new cruisers is get out there and visit the new destinations.
Although very nice as well when you're in port, and if you're not sure what you want to do, let everyone else go off and do their thing, and you have the ship to yourself. It's even better. So when we were in the Med,
Rules.
our Med cruise was a family cruise on Arvia, and it was Easter. Like you were talking the most passengers they'd ever had on Arvia up till that moment. So it was busy, and we found ourselves letting everyone get off in the morning, bit of a huddle, and we were just at the aft. I was at the swim up bar, the sun was shining. Matthew had a nice little spot. It was so quiet, it was just lovely. And then we tended to get off about 11 in the morning, maybe even midday. That works when you've got a long day in port, of course. If you're in a rush, that's different. And we found that when as we were getting off, there were lots of people coming back on, and we just enjoyed our day ashore. We had a bit of lunch ashore. We came back on maybe half an hour before we were due.
It's nice because you're not necessarily having to rush off for an excursion. So if you want
Yeah.
to have that relaxing time in the morning, just stay on board.
Yeah, excursions are great if you've never been somewhere before and you're a bit anxious about a certain country or a port, or sometimes it's just something that comes up on the excursion list. You think, oh my God, I'd love to do that. And you have that sense that you know you'll be looked after, you're going to be brought back in time for departure, and if you're late, they're still going to wait for you. Whereas if you do it independently, you don't always have that luxury, of course. I like a bit of everything. I like it when people go on shore and I've got the ship to myself. I like a few excursions. I like doing things independently. All depends on the country, the port for me.
So with your Northern Europe cruise that you're going to do, is it Saturday? What kind of destinations will you be visiting then?
So it's a 1 week cruise. It's a round trip from Southampton, and I don't actually remember the order of the ports. I haven't actually had time to look at it properly yet. Um, but I believe it's Hamburg, followed by Rotterdam, which is an overnighter, followed by Zeebrugge.
Yeah, I think I've got that cruise booked in February next year on board Iona.
Oh yeah, I they seem to be running the
Um,
same every February. We did it last February. It was great.
with the overnight, does it actually stay in port overnight?
Yeah.
Oh,
And you don't have to get back on. If you want to go out for the whole night, go
well,
for it.
I've only booked that cruise because my dad's side of the family are living in the Netherlands, Dutch. So I've kind of used that as an excuse to take a cruise and go and visit them.
Oh, that's a great idea. I did wonder about your last name as well.
Yeah, it's a
De
Dutch
Groot.
name.
De Groot?
De
Yeah.
Groot. Yeah, it's a Dutch name.
Okay, that makes sense now.
And the perfect overnight stop is Rotterdam because the ship stays in port overnight and you don't have to come back
You
until
don't,
all aboard time.
when you're in port overnight, you don't have to come back until your reboarding
All I
time.
have to do is use my Dutch rail card, get on the train, and hop off 36
Yeah,
minutes down the line to where my family live. And
yeah.
then,
And Rotterdam is a great place, and I think people underestimate how fabulous it is there. Like the first time I went there, I wasn't expecting to see or do or like so much, but actually you can take water taxis. You can download the Rotterdam water taxi app, actually, and you can even book your water taxi the night before if you really wanted to. But the water taxi stop is literally on that dock. There's one in front of where the ship docks and one behind. It's so easy to get around by water taxi there. But I mean, it's within walking distance as well, like all the attractions or whatever you want to do. I love it. I love it. I'm really pleased to have 2 days there.
that's nice. So, Jamie, what made you start creating travel blogs in particular on you and putting them on YouTube?
Well, originally, like years ago, in the old days when computers were the size of a house and phones were a new thing, I remember going to the Maldives and I had a new phone and I didn't know how to use this phone at all. I've got to be honest back then. And I just started filming little bits here and there. I thought, I'll have a go at filming it. But I didn't have any plan about what to do with the footage. I didn't. I was just going to sort of watch them back individually, you know. So I managed to put them together somehow, and then because my computer not having much storage space, etc., I thought, oh, what's this YouTube thing? That looks like a place I could just put my video. Actually, I can watch it anytime. I'm not going to clog up my computer or anything like that. It really was that. There was no plan. So I did that for the first few trips, and I I didn't know anything about YouTube. I knew nothing about it back then, and I was just noticing there were people watching, and I thought, oh, that's really odd. And then I did a tour of Piano Oceana. It was literally one of the. You remember? I don't know if you remember this. They used to do lunches. You could just go on board and have a tour and a lunch, and then get back off. You're not actually
I've done that particularly with Celebrity Beyond's new cruise ship when it arrived.
okay.
Hampton was invited for that kind of
So
thing.
that's what I did, and I filmed it, and then I think there were about 40,000 people who'd watched it in a short space of time. But even then, I didn't think, oh, well, I'm going to do this properly now. I literally just posted things as and when I went on a trip. So I could have had like a 3, 4, sometimes a 6 month gap between traveling anywhere, and there'd be nothing posted on my channel. I wouldn't interact with it at all. So I don't really call that vlogging. And also, I used to just film what was in front of me and I put some labels on it because I just didn't have any interest in a traditional what is now vlogging. I didn't. It was just a case of posting somewhere so that I can view them as when I want as a nice memory. Um, and then in recent years, that changed a little bit, but it wasn't really until about a year and a couple months ago when I thought I'm going to do this what I call properly now and regularly. And the reason for that is because it's just slowly getting more popular with people, which allowed me to travel more, and that's what I love doing. And I think, well, what an amazing thing to be able to do. And I'm going to grab the opportunity while I can, because these things are very fickle. um, I might not be doing this in a year or two time, but I'm going to take the risks now. I'm gonna go for it.
And
It
it's been
pays it
successful
pays
because
the bills now, okay? It pays the bills now.
yeah,
That's what it does.
and it's been successful because you've got 22,000 subscribers, almost 23,000. So you are getting viewers and you are getting the subscribers. So I think as time goes on, the more subscribers you get, the more views you get. Maybe it'll bring like more people to the channel who wouldn't necessarily watch that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I've been doing this for a while, and it's only the last year and a bit that I've really started doing it properly. And most of my subscribers have actually arrived in the last year and a bit since going part-time. I think I had about, was it 12 or 13,000 since last year when I started doing it properly. So I think that was a sign to me that, okay, the regularity is really important to people. But as I said, the more you do, the more opportunities I've had to travel, the more I wanted to be part-time at school to give me the opportunity to do it. So it just feels like it's really built and built over the last year and a couple months. And maybe it will stop. I don't know, but I might as well go along with the ride.
What's your dream destination to travel to? Where would you want to go if money wasn't an option?
Dream destination. I kind of feel like I've done some of them already. But I always fancy sailing to Hawaii um, from the west coast of the US. I'm going to be embarking on a cruise later this year, which is one of my dreams as well, which I'm going to talk about in my live. When's this going out?
The 15th of Feb.
Oh, I'll tell you then. So, um, so it might for some people just be a Norwegian fjords cruise. It's not for me because I'm going to be sailing up to North Cape, also at a time of year where the Northern Lights are really prevalent as well, and it's a 2-weeker. So normally going on a fjords cruise from Southampton is like a week, isn't it?
Which
Maybe
ship are you going to be on?
it's going to be Caribbean Princess. So I think most people who are trying to second guess where I'm going and what I'm doing are thinking it's a P&O ship. So I'm very excited about it because some of the things to do up in Tromsø and Alta and Trondheim, I think it's called. I haven't been anywhere like that. I've never been that far north. So I just think it's going to be really exciting, and I think my audience is going to really enjoy watching that to see if we do actually find
I'm
the Northern
certainly looking
Lights.
forward to it.
It's a dream for me. So I've been to Norway lots of times. I've never been that far north.
Mhm.
Um, so that's going to be towards the end of September, going into October, where you can start expecting snow and so on when you go that far north. It's going to be cold,
Hopefully,
and
you'll see the Northern Lights. Is it guaranteed that you
but
see the
that's the
Northern
whole
Lights,
point.
or
The actual cruise is called In Search of the Northern Lights. You know,
all right?
it's kind of like peak time of year to be seeing it. Um, so that is a dream for me. I mean, if I see them, I probably will bawl my eyes out or something, knowing me on film. So that is something that I've always wanted to do, and that's something I'm going to do this September, which I'm really excited about. But the one to Hawaii would be great. I wouldn't mind sailing more. I've been to Asia on a number of occasions, but I wouldn't mind sailing more of Asia as well. And I wouldn't mind doing segments of a world cruise or a world cruise at some point. I kind of like, I'm just greedy. I want to see everything, to be honest with you.
Do you want to also like cruise the Caribbean and that kind of area, like just maybe get on the Royal Caribbean ship and do that kind of thing, or are you more interested in staying around our side of the world and like Europe and towards Asia?
Well, over Christmas just gone, we were in the Caribbean sailing. Caribbean islands. We did a week. I think there were 5 islands in total. So it was Barbados and Antigua, Saint Lucia, Saint Martin, and Dominican Republic. So we did that literally, what was that, 2 months ago, less than 2 months ago. And we've done a princess cruise as well from Miami to the Caribbean as well. I've done the Bahamas once with Princess, once with Disney Cruise Line. Again, that was last year. So the Caribbean, love the Caribbean. I love the vibe of the Caribbean. But then we've done cruises off the west coast of the US as well. I mean, sailing into San Francisco is probably one of the biggest highlights for me ever. You know, when you've seen images and video footage of places for your whole life, and you never think
And to
you ever,
actually go and
yeah,
see it in real life.
it was it was a moment. That was another moment when I cried, by the way, on my balcony. Like we were literally coming into San Fran Bay, and you can see the Golden Gate Bridge in the distance, and Alcatraz. It's like, oh, I just can't believe I'm here. Um, that whole cruise was amazing as well, and it ended up going down to Mexico, Ensenada, with wine tasting in the hills, and just amazing. Yeah. But then places like the Adriatic in Europe is just absolutely stunning part of the world, and you only have to travel a very short distance from port to port, which is crazy, and every port is so different and unique. So all of it is great, all of it.
Yeah, I just it's just interesting to see so many destinations from when travel bloggers or vloggers, whatever you want to call it, put it out on YouTube for their audience to see, because it makes you think, oh, I would actually like to go there, and it inspires people to actually want to travel.
Yes, and sometimes I get called an influencer, and that makes me a little bit cringe. I don't
I
know, the
don't
word.
like the word.
No, and I was trying to sort of work out why don't I like the word influencer, and it felt like I'm just going out to change people's minds or get them to book something, and this is kind of what I said to you earlier. Actually, was that's not really my intention. My intention is to show so people can make a decision. I suppose that's influencing in some ways, isn't it? I don't
Mhm.
know. I mean, call me anything. I get called all sorts of names anyway. I don't really mind, to be honest with you. But it's I think every day without fail, I get multiple people saying, I booked this because of your vlog. And that makes me feel a lot of pressure, not to make sure the content is always top notch, but I always worry if people aren't going to like it just because I've liked it. And I always say on my vlogs, you must cruise and travel the way you want to do it. Don't worry about what I'm doing or someone else is doing. Do what you want. If you want to go to bed early every night, you want to watch a film when you come in,
Just
go
because
and do it.
let's use an example. Just because you booked the zip wire in Oldham, for example, doesn't mean that Mary, who's watched your video, has to book the same thing. She
Yes,
might like something
sometimes.
different.
Yes, I know, and that worries me. I've got all these people suddenly going up the Lowen Cable, sorry, lift into the mountains and the snow, and I'm like, well, not everyone's going to like that. It's like one of the steepest in the world. It's actually quite scary. And I've got everyone going up thinking, "Oh God, I hope they're all right with it and they like it." I mean, it's amazing. And the views are just incredible. So that does worry me. And when people say they go into a restaurant because of me, that worries me. I'm like, well, we all like really different things.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't had anyone come back yet saying you told me this and it was brr. So that's okay. But I feel a bit of pressure with that. I've got to say, I do.
One thing I want to also cover is the My Holiday.P&O Cruises system that P&O Cruises use. I want to know your opinions on it because it's very hit and miss with travelers about whether they like it and whether it's a good system. So what do you think of it?
I think initially it had a number of glitches, and but the thing is, when it stopped working, it didn't really make much difference. You just go to a restaurant. So with that particular, it's not an app, is it? It's like a web page
Website.
you can access, but people call it an app. I did a vlog on it actually because there were so many questions about it. The thing is, if it stopped working, you just turn up at the restaurant and they'll seat you. Um, if you want to book an excursion, go to the excursion desk or phone up and book it. That's still what people do after all. For me, the app has worked quite well, certainly in the last year or so. On our last cruise, it worked pretty seamlessly, and it was so easy to just join a virtual line for a restaurant. I know some people don't like that. For me, it's great. I'm joining a virtual line for breakfast or lunch or dinner when I'm in my cabin and I'm not even quite ready yet, you know. And then I get ready, and if there's nothing, there's no table available, that's no problem because I'm going to go and do something else. So it's always kind of there. But you don't have to do that anyway. On P&O, you can still turn up to a restaurant, not speciality, but the main dining room and so on. And you don't have to have booked in advance or joined a virtual
Sometimes
line.
they'll give you
But
like a little pager kind of thing to say, "Oh, we'll have
yeah,
a table at
exactly.
15."
If there's no table available for you when you get there, they'll give you a pager. And that doesn't bother me either. I'm quite happy to go and sit in a bar or a coffee shop or whatever for a time. But on the last couple cruises, we've had very low wait times for being seated in the main dining room, and that was impressive, especially over Christmas, given how busy the ship was with families as well. In terms of like that maximum occupancy was being reached because you've got cabins being shared by 3, 4 people, families. And we didn't have a problem with it. We did have a couple of problems with getting served at bars on one evening in particular. And someone was saying, "Oh, you're just precious. Why don't you go to other bars?" I'm like, "That's what I did. We went to one and we didn't get served. So we went to another one and we didn't get served." You know, for
I found
me,
that
yeah, I
at a
find that
bar
annoying.
on Iona back in the summer, and I was waiting half an hour. And yes, they're
Yeah.
busy, but you pay that money to go on a cruise,
Right. So
and
people who are absolute defenders of that sort of thing, I'm really pleased for them, but I don't personally think it's wise to spend however much money to go on a holiday to have to wait like that.
yeah,
Um,
I agree.
and that is generally down to staffing and a lack of crew. And I know that is also troublesome in the current climate. I know that's difficult. But in my mind, well, then don't put quite so many passengers on board if you can't serve them all. But I also know it's a business and they want to make money. So
I I remember with your when you went with your mum and sister on Ventura, you were very much queuing for ages to
mm,
get into the main dining room. I've not necessarily seen that on Iona, but it does happen because I reckon they overfill ships and they don't have enough crew to accommodate the passenger numbers.
yeah, I mean, not oversold in that there are more passengers than they got space for, but in terms of the ratio of crew to passengers on that Ventura cruise, because that was my mum and sister's, kind of feels like the same situation you went on with yours. Their first cruise, and my mum being older and less mobile. So when people are saying to me, "Oh, well, just go then, or just go early," I'm like, "Well, actually, I'm with an older person who is unable to do the things you're saying and
Yeah,
unable to walk quickly or to get around quickly. So therefore, things for us were a little bit more static in when we could and couldn't do things. And also with my mum, she likes going bed earlier as well and stuff, So it was really problematic that we couldn't sometimes get a table for an hour and a half. Because as I said, my mum is less mobile. What are we going to do with her? And she get very tired very quickly. Um, but that was down to either the way it was managed or less crew on board, which I know is challenging. But I said on that particular video, you are absolutely correct. It feels like they shouldn't have sold so many cabins if they knew they wouldn't be able to manage the passenger flow. Um, but like I said, it's a business. They're there to make money. You know, there were people on that cruise who loved it. We just had those kind of that kind of thing happen to us regularly throughout the week, so it didn't feel like a holiday to me. I don't know about you or anyone else listening. When I go on a land-based holiday, a nice hotel somewhere or something, I don't ever have to wait really for anything. So in my mind, it shouldn't really be any different on a ship.
Before
Luckily, that's
we
it's not the norm. I don't think it's the norm.
It isn't. Before we end, because we've only got, I think, 8 minutes left until it ends, I want to know about what your future plans are for the channel and what you want to kind of do with your channel.
So I wouldn't call it a future plan as such. I have said before in some of my lives, the only thing I really want to achieve is hopefully to maintain a level of authenticity, um, which I think is quite difficult actually, because your audience wants you to do something or your audience wants you to act in a certain way. And some people have said they feel I'm not acting as naturally anymore as I used to. And I'm the opposite. I'm like, actually, you're seeing more of the real me now than ever. I never used to show you the real me because I didn't think it was appropriate, or because my channel's not just about me and entertainment value, you know. So I feel like I'm striking a balance between um, showing more of me that some people like and the real me as well, which is I think there's an element of confidence needed to do that. You know, you can be gregarious and you can be come across as confident or articulate or whatever, but actually being your real self in front of the camera is actually, I think, something that takes time for you to let go. So with the people who are saying you're kind of just doing that now, it's like, well, I'm not doing anything. That's just me. You just don't like what you're seeing, and that's fine because we don't like everybody. We don't like each or everybody we come into contact with. You don't have to like me. So I want to maintain a level of authenticity. I think I'm probably as much myself now as I probably could be on my vlogs. I don't think there's much more to show, to be honest with you. I mean, you know, I show my grumpiness as well. If I'm not, if something's not right, or I'm not happy with something, or something's gone on, even in my personal life that's affected me a little bit, I will allude to those things as well. But the main thing is I'm still showing the experience. I like showing the whole experience. Some I know vloggers don't do that, and they just show snippets of things. I'm like there for the whole thing, you know, and that seems to be something my audience really likes and appreciates. And it takes even longer to edit that kind of vlog. It really does. But I think it's worth it. And when I've watched some of them back, I don't actually watch them all back. I haven't watched them all, but every now and then I put one on the screen just to think, well, what does this look like on a big screen? I don't know. I'm like, wow, there's actually quite a lot of info in that, as well as the personal touches. So I kind of feel that's the route I want to maintain. I don't really want to change anything. People are often messaging me saying, you should do, you shouldn't do. And I'm like, well, why don't you do that? If
Yeah,
that's what you think should be on a channel, make your own channel, put your name out there, put your face out there, you do it. Because I'm quite happy being me and doing me at the moment, you know.
yeah.
So I want to maintain authenticity, and if I do get more and more subscribers, I hope that I don't lose that. And I'm sure people who know me, people like yourself, will tell me if I did.
No, you're doing brilliantly, Jamie, and I really enjoy watching your videos. It's a highlight of my week watching your videos. It just, I don't know, it just brightens my day watching your videos with your little sayings like "Thank you, Jesus," or other little sayings that you do. Keep doing you.
Yeah, I've got some sayings that do trigger people, and I
Elevator doesn't trigger me.
I mean, I even sing to the toilet, you know. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I told you this. When I was on my last cruise, it was around Tenerife or something. I was just on a lounger, late afternoon, nice and quiet. It was just beautiful, bit of winter sunshine, and I had my eyes closed, I had my sunglasses on. I'm like, oh, this is the life. I love it. And then I heard someone singing that tune that I sing in my vlogs, and I'm like, what is that? And they literally were hovering above me. They were a lovely couple, by the way. They're absolutely lovely. So I've got people singing back to me now on
Y-
actual. cruise holidays, and it is so nice when people come and say hello or do something like that, and you don't realize that actually the things you do regularly or people are picking up on or repeating
Yeah.
back to you. It's different, but nice.
Well, thank you, Jamie, for coming on to my podcasty kind of video. I've really enjoyed getting to know you a bit better, and I think that the viewers from your side and my side will enjoy this little snippet of content that we've both created today. Um,
I
Thank
hope
you,
so. Thank
and
you, and good
keep
luck
filming.
with your ventures as well.
Thank you.
You and I know each other a little bit anyway, don't we? So
Yeah,
I'm gonna be following with interest how you get on.
thank you, Jamie. And good luck with your YouTube channel.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. Take care.